Hello all, welcome back to Drippy Dresses podcast. In today's audio, I will talk about reading the signs and talking shit about people. As mentioned in previous audios, back then, the stuff people needed to hear about in order to live happy lives actually got around. Nowadays, people stay quiet about the things that need to get talked about. For example, back then, if somebody's clothes caught on fire, they would run out and scream, "Help, my clothes are on fire," and someone else would spray them and the problem would get solved. Nowadays, if somebody's clothes were to catch on fire, it would be the same thing as if they were wearing red clothes. Plus, in this day and age, even after everyone has seen Vacation, if the oldest boy of a family were to catch on fire, most people wouldn't even care to help him, even if he didn't have any arms. Most people seriously need to learn that if someone is talking shit about someone else, they're not doing it to help you. They're doing it to hurt the person that they're talking shit about. I think that the reason for this is because people get so caught up in reading what's in the room that they forget about how it connects to what's outside the room. Let's face it, nobody knows everything about everyone. That's the way it is, and that's the way it should be. But if somebody does something and it comes across as suspicious, that's a reason to be suspicious, not to empathize with someone. Speaking of empathy, that's one way of reading the signs. If you're empathizing with someone and you don't feel anything, then that person doesn't experience emotions. If you're assuming something about someone and your assumption doesn't match the person's behaviors, then your assumption is inaccurate. There are two other ways of reading the signs. One is remembering that intuitions are signs, and the other is to only believe half of what you see. A lot of you are probably thinking about a lot of things right now. Some of you are probably thinking about the lessons that you've tried teaching others. One thing that I used to struggle with, and one thing that I think most people struggle with, is that even if you have a bad teacher, you have to teach that person lessons in a way that resonates with them. Unless, of course, that person is stubborn and unwilling to learn. But remember, there's a big difference between someone who's stubborn and unwilling to learn and someone who you see as stubborn and unwilling to learn. Every person is different, and as long as you know how to empathize, how to trust your intuitions, and how to look at things, you'll be just fine. See, the best way to empathize with others is to not indulge yourself in other people's emotions, but to let them give you reasons to empathize with them. The best way to know if something is an intuition or an inaccurate perception is to remember that an intuition is when something else tells someone something, and an inaccurate perception is when someone comes up with something. Blue lights represent intuition, brain rot represents inaccurate perceptions. In order to understand that, you need to accept the fact that not everything is comparable to a game of kickball on a playground. The best way to look at things is in whatever way is going to cause the least amount of problems. Speaking of problems, now that I've told people about how stupid certain movies are, I will no longer be making content about them, and I will not be mentioning them in any of my podcasts. If someone wants to continue being badly influenced by them, then they are no longer welcome to listen to my podcast. I guess you could say that my channel and my podcast are only aimed at people that don't talk shit and who know how to read the signs. How is talking shit about people a bad thing? Well, how would you like it if your parents and toxic uncle were in charge of how other people perceived you rather than you? How would you like it if I was in charge of how other people perceived you? Well, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for hitting that like and subscribe button. Thank you for leaving comments in the comment section below. I will talk to you more about the toxicity of talking shit about others next week, Friday.